and this is the brand new Yojana series, and this is August 2019 copy. So about Yojana, you all may have already known that Yojana is a monthly magazine, and this is very important for the preparation of government exams. Okay, so here we go. First of all, we need to know that how one needs to study Yojana. So this is a source which is mainly important because you need to have your answers building around this Yojana magazine articles. In 12 months, they are going to give you 12 issues which are going to discuss about 12 important visions of the government and what they have done and what is the present scenario. So there is more probability that you will end up getting questions from this in the UPSC mains. There are some statistics also that in next 20 years this is going to happen, the figure for this is this, the allocation for this particular scheme is amount this. So don't go too much into this, but saying that, we need to remember that these are not to be forgotten. So whenever you study the Yojana, don't stress yourself to remember that, but also do not take it very lightly that you must forget it. Okay, so after reading a Yojana magazine on a particular issue, try to frame a question from there. And if you don't do this, you can also follow some important sites like Insights on India, and there are plenty other sites also. I'm not going to advertise those sites here, but they are very secure sites. Okay, and write the answers using this Yojana magazine resources. Now stick to very less number of resources, which is very important, and often we tend to ignore this part. Now regarding UPSC, they follow the exclusion principle. What does that mean? That means they select the worst answers and get them out of the system, and in this way they end up with having 1200 odd good answers. Some of them are very good, some of them are good, but what is most important is that you must not be worst among the competitors. So don't try to focus only to become the best, but try not to be the worst and develop yourself to be better than yesterday. And this goes on as a practice, and ultimately there is a time that you can say to yourself that okay, I am ready. So let's move straight away into the topic. So this is August 2019. There is a issue regarding the Union Budget 2019-20, and there is a topic regarding the water. As you already have known that water is given an important part in this government's vision for the next particular year. Okay, a Jal Shakti Mantralaya has been constituted. So in introduction, we can say that why is it in news? Recently, Government of India has constituted Jal Shakti Mantralaya to ensure the consolidated approach to attain the water security and management of the water resources in a sustainable manner. And this was constituted by integrating two different ministries. What are they? Ministry of Water Resources, River Development and Ganga Rejuvenation, and Ministry of Drinking Water and Sanitation. This will give thrust towards the goal of providing safe and adequate drinking water supply for all households. So what are important sentences here is consolidated approach, water security, sustainable manner, management of water resources, and adequate and safe drinking water supply to all households. Now if we see a history or the background of this particular step, then we can find that India didn't have any consolidated ministry to work on water as resources. Rather, it has 7 different ministries working it on different ways. So as a result, there were instances that these responsibilities get overlapped and the decision making gets delayed because there are too many ministries, so there will be too many issues to resolve. Niti Aayog has recently started an integrated water management index and ranked the states among the performance in this index. So this is a good initiative where we can get the idea about the states and their performances. Formation of the Jal Shakti Mantralaya, it is a big and is a necessary step. So these are all we need to know from the whole article as an introduction of our answer. Okay, moving on to the next part. Here we come to the statistics, which is you don't need to stress yourself to remember it, as well as you don't need to forget it also. India is entering into a water crisis territory with water demand will exceed exceeds the supply by a factor of 2 by 2030. That means what the demand is, it is going to be the double of the supply by 2030, and as a result there will be an estimated 6% GDP loss by 2050, which potentially leads to a significant percentage of our population having limited or no access to the drinking water. India loses almost 40% of the piped water supply in urban areas due to lack of proper maintenance of existing infrastructure. India only captures 8% of the rainwater annually, which is among the lowest in the world. If we look at some global examples like Israel, which itself is a country which is in water crisis, but this country treats 100% of its used water and recycles 94% of the grey water to meet more than half of its irrigation needs. So this recycled water is used as the irrigation needs. Okay, 80% of all the habitations are presently having access to 40 liters of water per day through some source. Only 18 to 20% of the rural household have access to the piped water supply. So these are the statistics we need to remember. This enriches your answers. Okay, so regarding the water, government has already taken some initiatives. Let's look into those. One of the priorities of the government is to provide piped water supply to all rural households by 2024. These years are important. Some important years like housing to all, like doubling the farmers' income, and you also need to have this one. That is also important year to remember, to eradicate TB. Okay, remember those years. One of the priorities for the government is to provide piped water supply to rural household by 2024. A budgetary allocation of rupees 10,000 crore is made for rural drinking water in this particular year, which is under Swachh Bharat Mission Gramin. Jal Shakti Mantralaya will promote decentralized but integrated water resource management and service delivery with key focus on water conservation, source sustainability, storage and reuse. And community based approaches are there also. For example, you can take Hiware Bazaar of Maharashtra and Swajal scheme of Uttarakhand. Regarding schemes of the government, Jal Shakti Abhiyan is there. It is launched by the Jal Shakti Ministry. It is a collaborative approach of the central and the state governments to accelerate progress on water conservation activities in identified water stressed blocks. So this will be a region specific. Okay, the water stress block will be taken care of by both the central government and the state government. Under this, the senior government officials will join the states to promote focused interventions for the Jal Sanchay and Jal Sanrakshan, that is water storage and water conservation. Another scheme you can remember is that Har Ghar Jal. It is concerned with water conservation and building the infrastructure for collection and basic treatment of domestic non-facial wastewater और किचन और बेदिंग वेस्ट वाटर ऑल्सो कॉल्ड ग्रे वाटर. तो यहाँ पे आपने जो देखा था कि ग्रे वाटर बोल के एक टर्म है और यहाँ पे वो डिफाइंड हो गया है. ग्रे वाटर क्या है? दिस इज डोमेस्टिक नॉन फेशियल वेस्ट वाटर एंड किचन और बेदिंग वेस्ट वाटर. ओके, इट इज 80% of the byproduct of all domestic water. So if you can just recycle it, you can reuse it for irrigation purpose, which is going to lessen the stress on the groundwater. Now this is some case studies from the states. In Dewas district of Madhya Pradesh, through government support, farming communities are building ponds, which is as an alternative storage and supply for the irrigation purpose. As a result, despite there is an increase in the area under irrigation, there has been a rise in the groundwater table by 6 to 40 feet. This is very, very good news for us. Gujarat is leading the efficient use of agricultural water by bringing in the micro irrigation to over 6 lakh farmers. And if you can remember that micro irrigation is preventing the wastage of water. Okay, and this helps especially the small and marginal farmers. Andhra Pradesh government has earmarked rupees 11,000 crore to bring 40 lakh acres of land under micro irrigation over the next 5 years. So these are the important initiatives taken by the states. These are also known to be as case studies. If you can mention these in your answer, this is very good. Now, as a conclusion, what I have chosen here is that water security is a matter of community and mass participation. Raising awareness regarding the exhaustive nature of water as a resource and mitigating the water wastage is key to devise any policy regarding the water security in India. Effective behavioral change, army of motivators at the grassroots level, participation and implementation on through sarpanches and village based approach is the need of the hour. We need to consolidate our approach toward the ensuring water security by transforming the fragmented approach, which is by the 7 ministries, into a mass movement. So this is all we have regarding the article in Yojana which talks about water, and these are the way forward. So thank you very much for listening to it, and I am going to try to bring some more articles from Yojana this month. Good night.